Glad everyone's energized. Today's consumers are anytime, anywhere digital shoppers who have a world of information at their fingertips. In this session, you'll learn how REVOLVE connects with these consumers by listening for the signals and indications that they're ready to engage, and then thoughtfully triggering sophisticated campaigns across email, SMS, and mobile. In this session, we'll look at the data that drives strategic campaign decisions, best practices for building cohesive messaging programs across all channels, and discuss new ways to improve the mobile shopping experience. I'm excited to introduce our speakers, Rachel Bergman, the CRO of Cordial, and Lucy Zhu, the Director of Retention Marketing for REVOLVE.
Thank you. Are we live? We are. Exciting. Cool. Well, hi everyone. Thanks for coming to this breakout today. That was a good description. Although we only have 20 minutes, so it's going to be a lot to get through in that period of time. But we're gonna try to leave you guys with some good advice and ideas on what to do with your program, learning from REVOLVE. So with that, I'm Rachel Bergman. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Cordial, which is a cross-channel marketing platform. And I'm joined by Lucy, who is definitely the star of the show here today. And Lucy is the Director of Retention Marketing at REVOLVE, which is email, SMS, mobile, loyalty, and personal shopping experience, I believe. Did I miss anything in there?
Yes, mobile push, email, SMS.
SMS, yep. So she's responsible for all the messaging that, I'm not just going to leave this to the ladies, but probably a lot of you get in your inbox on your phones. And we're going to talk a bit more about that as we go through this. So real quick, we just wanted to start off by just looking at a couple of statistics here. We just, at Cordial, just ran a new consumer marketing study really focused on the cross-channel experience and expectations of consumers. And I think we are all very aware of this. We've seen this over the last few years, that expectations are just sky high, right? Like the consumer expects a shopping experience at this point that's very cohesive. And one that really helps them make better decisions as a consumer. So these are a few stats that we have here. We also have a full study with a bunch more of facts and figures, and I'll have a QR code at the end where you guys can get this if you'd like to read more about this. So with these expectations, REVOLVE really kind of took that and really figured out, I think, you're still figuring it out, I mean, everybody is, right? But really has tried to figure out what to do with those expectations, and I think has really done a pretty fantastic job at thinking about that and understanding that and really kind of going for it. And a lot of what they've done is really focused on one-to-one triggered communications across channels, and that's a lot of what we're going to be discussing today with Lucy. So with that, Lucy, I think one of the questions that we always get from clients is, okay, you're doing all these amazing things, but like, how is your team structured? Like, how do you actually make this happen every day? Could you take us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so the REVOLVE retention marketing team is a really small team. We have 5 persons, including me. I have one very special, great specialist, retention marketing specialist. Her role is really helping me managing different projects and then connecting the retention team with our merch team, who really take the lead on creating the batch messages. We are trying to tell a story to our client about what's trendy, what's in, what's hot right now. So that's really, we heavily rely on our merch team because they know the inventory, they know the restock day, they know what's in trend. So they are the lead of creating the promotion emails. So we work very closely with the merch team and graphic team. And then I have 2 analysts helping me, because we're really heavily data-driven, so I need analysts on board to help me look at performance, writing personalized algorithms to trigger different personalization campaigns. So that's why we have 2 analysts on board, and then we also have a retention marketing associate that helps scheduling the campaigns, setting up A/B tests, ongoing A/B tests, and then helping creating different campaigns as well. And all of us are capable of creating campaigns in if we want to have someone take the lead, everyone is capable of doing that, but they all have like different focus when they're working on different projects.
Yeah, I love that, and I actually think a lot of companies don't do that, Lucy, where they might have certain people who are specialists in certain areas, but then they don't necessarily have a whole team that can actually execute the campaign. So I actually think that's pretty unique. And then one of the other, I think, things that you do, which is a little bit unique on your team, Lucy, right, is that you've also hired some people right out of school, a couple years of experience, really people that you feel like you can mold into these roles. And I think a couple of times that's been really successful for you, right?
Yeah, for us, obviously experience is important, but even if you have a email marketing experience before, that might not work for our client. So for me, when I hire, the most important thing is critical thinking. If you can think broadly, thinking out of the box, when we're doing training, if similar thing happen, you know where to start, that's more important. And you're willing to take the initiatives, taking the lead, trying out new things, that's more important. So the team is really young. We're all at our 20s, so we're very, very young, but we can do a lot with this team.
Yeah. No, I think you guys have really figured something out there. And with that, right, I mean, you do need access to the data to be able to do a lot of this stuff, right? So like you said, you have those two analysts, because even though merchandising is so important in your business, if the data needs to really drive the decisions on kind of who's getting what content, right?
Yeah, so we're heavily data driven, so we're tracking all customers' behavior the moment they landed on our site. Obviously, we have those upper funnels to get the customer in our site, but once they start their journey at Revolve, the moment they sign up for email, they create an account, we start to know this type of browsing history, add to cart, purchase with this email account. So we all have all this first-hand data that available for us to look at what they are looking at. So when they visit the site, we start tracking their browsing history, add to cart, how many brands they viewed, how many items from this brand, or maybe they hearted some items. And then at that time, we can maybe adding some life cycle journeys of like shirt campaigns, abandoned carts, abandoned browse to their purchase. Once they make a purchase, we have all those post-purchase campaign coming in to complete their journey. And then the more campaign we send over, the more data we gather from the client about their shopping behavior, their likelihood, their reaction to sales message or full price items. The more campaign we send, the more data we can gather from this customer, the more we know her. So, and then we just complete the circle and have it run again and again. So that's really about the retention, right? We want the higher retention rate for the customers, so we want to keep them coming back and again to shop again and again. So we really trying to use different personalization campaigns to try to push at different stage of their shopping journey to see if we can convert this customer.
And when you say do it again, though, I mean, you're doing that with a lot of testing, right? I mean, whenever you have a campaign, you're not happy with the results, right, until you feel like you've fully tested it and you feel like you've gotten to the best possible email SMS, whatever it is for that moment, right?
Yeah, so right now when we launching new campaigns, we want to see whether it's worth it or not, whether we have enough data to support that this is a good decision to move forward. So we oftentimes start with A/B testing to see how much of a lift, whether we can get significance in that. So we do a lot of A/B tests inside the email or push, like in every campaign you possibly, like one campaign, like the regular promotion email you receive, you're probably in a test group, or someone else probably in a control group that getting different content within that email. So we're like consistently testing different ideas.
I always imagine myself in not the control group because, you know, I think I'm special. But yeah, we'll figure that part out later. So with that, I think you wanted to take us through 3 of your campaigns that have been kind of exceptionally successful for Revolve?
Yeah, so when we create campaigns, the first thing we do is whether we look at the audience that we can possibly target for this campaign, whether it makes sense, if it's a large enough group. So we have this feature that we allow users to heart their favorite brands on their site, and then we can alert them whenever their favorite brand has a new arrival product or markdown products from the brand. But we noticed that users might keep looking at certain brands that they not necessarily tell us it's their favorite brand, but they purchase 10 times of that brand. They browsing 10 times of that brand. They add to cart like 20 times of certain brands. We know that. We know all those data. So we actually come out with an infer logic on top of their actual hearted brand or favorite brand. We have this infer logic for us to guess what your favorite brand is. And then by looking at your shopping behavior, your browsing, and then your purchase patterns, we add an inferred brand logic there, and that actually doubled our audience for this campaign that we can set more audience, because not everyone tells us what they like, but we have all the browsing history for users that we know, okay, you might be liking this brand, otherwise why are you keep looking at it? So we add that inferred logic in there. And that's so that's one of our highest send volume trigger campaigns. It's almost as big as our regular batch messages, because if you browse on our site, we kind of know what you have been looking at. Yeah. And then for abandoned browse, this is on top of the regular abandoned browse. I'm sure a lot of companies already have the abandoned browse, but we try to add some urgency into our campaigns. So if you've been looking at this item, and then we know that we only have 5 in stock, but 20 users been looking at this item yesterday. So we just try to adding a little bit urgency into this message. Hey, you browse this item, I only have 2 left in stock, but 10 people look at it yesterday. And then we A/B test this against our regular abandoned browse, and then it does seem like this one is a stronger performance. So we that was a long A/B test, but we end up closing the A/B test and then moving forward with the new idea, with adding a little bit urgency, that little red messages there.
Gets me every time. I don't know.
Yeah, and then so also like back in stock items. We have a lot of different back in stock alert on the site. User can sign up for a specific item that they want to be notified when it's back in stock. But sometimes user they don't bother like signing up. But we know that, hey, you've been adding this item to your wish list, and then it's being out of stock, and then yesterday it came back in stock. So it would be nice for us to notify you, okay, this item you being hearted, it's back in stock, and then it's a good time to shop. So that's some other back in stock ideas on top of the regular back in stock campaigns that we've been doing. Yeah, that's just how the team is coming up with ideas. This area, do we have more space for new campaigns? How does this make sense for us to create a new campaign to notify user about certain items, about certain like behaviors that they do on the site? That so is it possible that users are interested in getting this type of campaign? So when we're creating it, we often brainstorm ideas first and then see if it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think too in these campaigns, and I think you just described it really well, but there are basic versions of all these campaigns, and then there's more advanced versions of these campaigns, and what Revolve is doing and how they're using the data is definitely on the more advanced side of it. And I think you've really seen the results and the changes in those results when you do kind of go that extra step. So in thinking about channels, so not just email, but also mobile app, can you talk a little bit about how those 2 channels are kind of working together for you?
Yeah, so email is obviously the biggest channel for us. We've been having email for quite it's the longest channel. Mobile app for us, we haven't been pushing the mobile app heavily So whoever has the app is our best customers. They're more engaged with us. They already spend time downloading the app and then can start browsing the app. So for us, the strategy on email and mobile apps is really different. For email, for us, it's a way. We rely more on like the promotional messages that to tell user, because one email can include a lot of content. We can tell a story within an email, and then but for mobile app push message, it's just a short message. So for us, mobile push is more like alert, like item related. If you're interested in certain items, we want to let you know as soon as possible when it's back in stock or when it's new arrival. So we use mobile app more on our trigger campaigns, personalized push campaigns. For mobile app, trigger is 60% of our overall revenue, but for email, it's only 20%. Part of the reason is that users check email certain times of the day, and it's within the email app. So if you don't open up the app, if you don't have your email app notification on, you don't receive, you don't like get the chance to open your email right away. But for mobile push, if you already choose to subscribe to our mobile push and get notified, whenever we send the message out, you see it. So the timing of the two channels is just different for us.
Yeah. And then with SMS, you focus a bit more on the promotional side of things rather than the triggers, right?
Yes, so for SMS, it's a new channel for us. We are trying to collect users' phone number. At this stage, we're doing it with our new users. So it's a new additional channel for us to reach out to our client, for especially new customers, because we know, at least for us, we took a look at our unsubscribe rate for how long the user has been subscribed to our email list. The new users, within 2 weeks, has the highest unsubscribe rate. So SMS is definitely an additional channel for us to keep our user engaged with us, continue to tell our user the REVOLVE story or the REVOLVE trend via different channels outside of email. And the SMS is it's a little expensive channel compared to email, so we don't really do it daily. It's more like we save the best campaigns like 2-3 times a week that we notify user via SMS channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've tested the frequency of that versus the cost of it, and I'm sure you'll continue to optimize as your list grows. So for anyone who doesn't subscribe to all these channels for REVOLVE, first of all, you should. As a marketer, I promise you, it's going to be good because you're going to get some good ideas from it. But all of the things that Lucy just described has led, to kind of hundreds of millions of dollars in additional revenue across channels with what they've done with their triggers. And then this is just an example here, and I'm not sure if this is totally coming through in the picture, but if you travel on your journey with REVOLVE across their channels, you are going to see a completely consistent message. If you abandon a cart, as an example, if you browse something, you are going to see that in your email, you are going to see it in a text, you're going to see that in your push. And you're even going to see it on your promotional emails. If you scroll to the bottom, there'll actually be a block that will say, and by the way, it looks like you were interested in this and it's still in your cart and you can go and purchase it. So in every message that they have, they're making sure that the consumer knows that they're listening to them and knows that they can click and buy, which is what we're all trying to do here. So with that, Lucy, I think you just kind of wanted to leave us with a few things that have really worked for you with your program and making it so successful.
Yeah, so for us, we're continually monitor or reviewing our existing trigger campaigns and then see what works and what doesn't. And if it doesn't work, we're trying to have new ideas to make it better or maybe stop it and then try something new. So keep trying and keep A/B testing. And then when we are looking at the performance, obviously, the data is very important for us to look at, to give us a chance to review how it worked out or if it doesn't. And then on top of our existing campaigns, we're also trying to brainstorm in different new ideas, new areas that we can target user, and then we're trying to engage with them. And then for us right now, we're trying to develop our push channel and SMS channel to make it, hopefully we can make it as big as email. So we have all 3 channels going. And then if user prefer certain channels, then we have the ability to try to focus on that channel for them.
Yeah. And that's going to, over the next couple of years, again, as those channels grow for you, I mean, there's just going to be so many more opportunities to really think about, who gets what, when, where, based on cost and order value and everything. So it's going to be really exciting to watch. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning from Lucy. There's a little kind of card there with some information about a Revolve case study that we have on the Cordial website that you guys can go to and learn some more about their programs. Cordial also has a booth, kiosk number 149, where we are giving away gift certificates for Revolve. So again, for a lot of you in this room, whether you're a Revolve shopper or maybe somebody else in your life is, you would probably maybe be interested in that. And then, of course, you can go to this QR code or go to our booth or our site and download our new customer engagement study. So we are out of time for questions. Lucy is going to be around the conference. She's super open and willing to have conversations with folks about what they're doing. But just really appreciate everyone's time. Have a wonderful show. Thank you, Lucy, so much.
Thank you.